Hey, what's up, nerds? Today's video is going to be something different than what I usually do, because instead of like a 10-minute video showing off a specific build, I'm just going to be showing off a quick glimpse of 5 builds that I really enjoy that are great for aggressive players that like getting in chases with the killer. Because if you're anything like me, holding M1 on a generator and pressing space every now and then isn't really the fun part of Survivor. I much more enjoy the thrill of the chase and trying to mind game the killer and stunning them and really just being a piece of shit to the killer as much as possible. But before I go further into this vid, I just want to say that if you haven't already, make sure to like the video. And if you're new here, just make sure to subscribe. It helps me a whole lot, and you can always unsubscribe if you change your mind. Alright, now since that's done, let's get into the builds. The first build I'm going to be going over is what I call Born Athlete. The perks that I use are Balanced Landing, Lithe, Dead Hard, and Vigil. For those who don't know, Balanced Landing, Lithe, and Dead Hard are all exhaustion perks that provide you a burst of speed once every 40 seconds. And to get back those perks, you're going to have to walk, do a gen, or just stand still, really anything that doesn't provide you holding the shift key and running around. The first perk, Balanced Landing, activates after doing a great fall, and instead of giving the killer, a free smack on you because you get staggered for years otherwise, you actually have a chance to dodge the swing and take off at a quick speed. That way you can get to a safe loop, or just not at least get M1'd and be a sitting duck waiting for the killer to M1 you. Second perk you're going to use in this build is Lithe. Lithe activates after running and doing a quick action towards a vault. Afterwards you will take off at 150% normal movement speed, and once again, that way you could leave the killer in the dust, go to a safer loop, or at least even mind game. Once again, it's a get out of jail free card. Even if the killer mind gamed you, you actually have a pretty good chance for him to completely whiff you because they don't usually expect Lithe. Especially after seeing you use Balanced Landing, I don't think they're going to be expecting Lithe too. The final exhaustion perk, Dead Hard, is a little different than the other two. The other two provide you 150% normal movement speed, but Dead Hard does not provide that. I know that may make the perk sound really bad, but it's honestly very clutch because you can activate this perk whenever you want. It will allow you to make vaulting spots and pallets that you originally wanted of by getting that quick little burst of speed, and it does not last like 4 seconds on the others. It's just literally a quick burst and that's it. It's just also the most inconsistent exhaustion perk in the game. I know I'm making this perk sound very bad, but it's honestly one of the best exhaustion perks in the game besides Sprint Burst. And for our final perk in this build, it's Vigil, and unlike the other three, this is not an exhaustion perk. Vigil will actually allow you to use those exhaustion perks more often by making your exhaustion status effect 20% less. And for those who think 20% doesn't sound like a lot, it's basically 8 less seconds of waiting around waiting for your exhaustion perk to come around, and it also stacks. So if you can get multiple people to run this build, you guys will be a bunch of spider monkeys jumping around this entire map, not having to wait at all for your exhaustion perks to come back. Just you do have to be next to each other to make the Vigil stack, but it does stack. Also, the killer's not going to see you use Balanced Landing and expect a Lithe and Dead Hard as well. They'll literally never see it coming because it's so rare that anybody would ever do it. Now on to our second build. This build I just simply called the Sprint Burst build. The reason I call it the Sprint Burst build is just it's literally meant for Sprint Burst to just be better than it already is. The perks you're going to need to be doing this are Vigil, Sprint Burst, Fixated, and Iron Will. Vigil we already went over. It gives you 20% less to your exhaustion. It stacks. And to be honest, it's the best with Sprint Burst just because how often you're going to be walking using this build anyway. Vigil and Sprint Burst are just perfect for each other. Next perk is Sprint Burst, which is the whole point of this build, and what it allows you to do is the moment you sprint forward, you take off at 150% normal movement speed, and literally anywhere on the map you could basically make it to safely. You want to go to another loop, you're good. You want to make the killer swing and miss, you're good. You want to sprint over to a killer shack, you're good. You're basically given free distance from the killer, and it is easily the best exhaustion perk, and then it's Dead Hard. But Sprint Burst, to me, in my opinion, it's just infinitely better. A fun thing you could also do with Sprint Burst is you could Sprint Burst towards a killer and then run the fucking other way and watch them swing and miss. It never gets old and it's fucking hilarious. God, I'm a toxic cunt. Third perk you're going to want in this build is Fixated. What Fixated does is it allows you to walk 20% faster. And since you're going to do a whole lot of walking during this, you kind of want that. That way you're not wasting your own time, your teammates' times, and also you can loop stuff better by walking and get that Sprint Burst back quicker and maybe be able to Sprint Burst twice in one chase. There's some big brain plays that you can make from it. Oh yeah, and you can also see your own scratch marks, but that's not why we're using it, but I guess you can make a play because of that too. Final perk that we're going to be using in this build is Iron Will. Iron Will is easily one of the best perks in this game because killers rely so heavily on sound in this game. And in my opinion, they probably rely on it more than scratch marks during chases. The reason is, the moment you are injured, you are much easier to mind game since they can hear your grunts of pain. So the moment you go right, they hear you go right. The moment you go left, they hear you go left. All they need is a good pair of headphones and they're going to get you the moment you're injured. But with Iron Will, it becomes a complete guessing game for the killer. He doesn't know if you went left, right, or if you're even at that loop anymore because he can't hear your grunts. And I know what you're thinking, scratch marks he could follow. Scratch marks aren't as easy to follow as you would think. It could easily confuse the killer and think you looped around it, and then by the time they loop around and realize you're not there, your scratch marks already just disappeared. But if you're more worried about scratch marks, of course you could use the perk Lightweight. For those who don't know, Lightweight allows your scratch mark to disappear 3 seconds faster, so that's why if the killer loses sight of you pretty quick, your scratch marks are soon going to follow. They do not last long with Lightweight on. Okay, now on to the next build. This build is easily the most popular in Dead by Daylight. I feel like every YouTuber has showed off this build one point or another. It is literally everywhere. And most of you probably guessed it right already. That build I am talking about is Volt Speed. The perks you're going to need to create this Volt Speed build are Spine Chill, Dead Hard, Resilience, and Iron Will. Spine Chill will activate the moment the killer is looking at you within a 36 meter radius, and it will give you a 6% speed to literally everything. Gens, healing, unhooking, you name it, you get an extra 6% speed. But the reason we're using it is because that 6% extra Volt Speed. And yes, you are going to get use out of that Volt Speed because if the killer's chasing you, they are going to be looking at you, so you're given that 6% almost guaranteed. Dead Hard, we went over, it's used for making a volt or making a pallet that you need a little extra distance in during a chase. You could also use it to try and dodge a killer swing, but you're going to get exhausted on the ground every time. Apologies, not every time, just almost every time. Third perk, Resilience, which combines with Spine Chill, and the whole reason of Volt Speed is to combine Spine Chill and Resilience. Resilience gives you a 9% speed to literally everything, but you have to be injured to get use out of it. You literally become a glass cannon combining Spine Chill and Resilience because the volts you make are at insane speeds. And the final perk, Iron Will, which I went over, it hides your grunts of pain and breathing and makes it much harder for the killer to be able to mind game you. But yeah, fair warning, once you use this build, you're going to be addicted and you're probably not going to want to use any other build. Volt Speed is literally everything, especially with this new shit update. Now the fourth perk set. And in my opinion, this is the second best build in the game, but you probably could argue this being the best or Volt Speed being the best. This is just my opinion. This perk set, I just literally called a clutch build because basically it allows you to have a second chance almost in every situation. The perks you're going to need to do this build are Dead Hard, Adrenaline, Borrow Time, and Decisive. Dead Hard, as we went over, allows you to make unsafe windows or unsafe pallets that you need that little extra distance to make without getting hit through them. Adrenaline, a literal survivor's version of NOED, and it is a beautiful OP perk. It gives you literally everything you can need at endgame. You need to be healed? Boom, you're up a hell state. You're on the ground? Boom, you're up off the ground, up a hell state. The killer's about to hit you and he's moving a little faster than normal. Might have NOED because of that. Boom, take off at an insane speed, leave them in the dust. Now you have a chance at least to not get smacked instantly from NOED. As you can tell by the way I'm talking, Adrenaline's one of my favorite perks. It literally never ceases to help. It's always helpful. It always amazes me how helpful this perk is. Borrow Time, that way you could safely unhook somebody due to a face camping killer, or maybe he saw you about to unhook them because he's not proxy camping. He's just keeping an eye on, he's proxy camping. By unhooking them, you give them the Borrowed Time status effect, which makes them unable to get downed by anything for like 15 seconds. Another good play you could use, since you have Dead Hard in this build, if you unhook somebody and you are injured, you could Dead Hard through the person you just unhooked. They will have the BT status effect, and that way you will not get down and they will not get down, and that way nobody had to die. And for our final perk, Decisive Strike. What Decisive Strike does, basically if you were unhooked, and the killer downs you and then picks you up and tunnels you, you can quick stab them by hitting a skill check that will pop up the moment they pick you up, and it will stun the killer for 5 seconds. This will give you a chance to escape and try and get away from them, but if they're in the mood like to tunnel you, I hate to say it, that's all you got. You get to use this once and then you can't use it again, so if they decide to tunnel you again, well, good luck. I hope your teammate brought BT or you guys are in a survival with friends to help you out. Otherwise, they're tunneling you. You're done. And our final perk set, which I literally just made a video about, this build is literally OP and has 0 counterplay for the killer to beat you. Okay, well, beat you is the wrong way, but you're guaranteed a second chance after being unhooked. There's literally nothing the killer can do to counter this. To make this toxic OP build, you need Unbreakable, Adrenaline, Dead Hard, and Decisive. The two king bad boys in that build are Unbreakable and Decisive as a duo. This literally gives the killer no choice but either to eat DS or allow you to Unbreakable up. You are guaranteed a second chance. Because some killers will just slug you when they suspect that you have DS to wait out the timer, but Unbreakable basically just says, nah, fuck that, I'm getting my second chance, I'm getting up, and I'm trying again. Got a little sidetrack, let's get back to the build. Dead Hard allows you to make windows and pallets more safely by getting that quick burst of speed. Adrenaline, as I said, the Godsend endgame perk makes you go up 1 health state come endgame and gain insane speed, allowing you to 1, pick yourself up, 2, go from injured to healthy, or 3, just enjoy going fast for a little bit. Unbreakable I went over in the beginning, but I will say it again just for the sake of those who may have not understood or missed it. Unbreakable allows you to pick yourself up off the ground once per trial. It also allows you to recover off the ground 35% faster, that way you can activate your Unbreakable quicker. And final perk Decisive, which allows you to stab the killer if they decide to tunnel you after picking you up off the ground. I will also give you guys a tip again on this perk. You could jump and fastful into a locker if the killer is right next to you. That way if they swing, they most likely will grab you out of the locker, and it forces them to do that. What this allows you to do when they grab you out of the locker is it guarantees that you could try using DS rather than them slugging you. Killers get very mad when you do this, and they think it's the most toxic thing ever, but in my eyes, it's like, yeah, you get 5 seconds of free time, but depending what killer they're playing, that 5 seconds isn't going to mean a whole lot. That final build that I just told you guys about is honestly my more try-hard build, and it's not going to be like this much longer because they're going to be nerfing DS. And it's a pretty heavy nerf too. They're going to be making if you tap a generator, tap a survivor to heal them, it's over. You do not have DS anymore. So if you feel the killer's going to be heading in your way, it's not worth touching a generator or survivor to heal them. Just keep that in mind. I'm probably personally going to fuck that up because when people unhook me and are injured, before I say this, I know this is very stupid in its own way. I know it's not the smartest thing to do, but I like to help others. So when I see someone else is injured, even though they just unhooked me, I usually want to heal them first. I don't know what, it just takes over me. I just like to help others and help other people escape. So let that be known. Don't fuck up and make that mistake. Don't heal anybody, just wait to see if the killer's going to try tunneling you. But yeah, that's about it. Those are my 5 favorite perks to use in Dead by Daylight, and honestly, I love each and every single one of them. The final one is my tryhard build. The Sprint Burst one is honestly probably one of my favorites, next to Volt Speed being my favorite. Once again, I'm not good at doing outros. I usually don't do these a whole lot, so thanks for sticking till the end, nerds, and I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.